All right, good morning or good afternoon, 12th graders. I'm Mr. Ermer. I volunteered to help produce a successful example of what this voting project will look like. I'm going to go over the criteria. As you can see, I have unprepared for making this video, so I'm dubbing over the audio in this intro part. But here's the criteria. First, you need to introduce your 5 statements of things you stand for. Tell us what you believe in. We're calling them I stand for statements. So you need to introduce what those statements are. Then you're going to need to back up that introduction with actual paragraphs or statement segments of each of those 5 I stand for statements. Each of those I stand for statements needs to have some professional sourcing. So you need to go out there on the interwebs and find 5 sources that you're going to be using to help support your I stand for statements. Lastly, just going to wrap it up with a conclusion. All right, here comes my success example. Be thorough and be convincing. Note, I'm only providing an example with 1 I stand for statement. In your project, you'll still need 5.
Here goes. Good evening, fellow classmates. I stand before you tonight here on the steps of Park High School to help bring our community together. Our community is in the midst of a pandemic which is causing our community real pain, death, and economic instability. To help you appreciate just how I plan to build up our community in defense of this devastating reality, I will share with you just what I stand for. I stand for student loan forgiveness to help those who want to reinvest back into our country. I stand for practical police reforms which will help protect all of our citizenry. I stand for funding our education system to show this country we still care for our children. I stand for universal health care so that our people don't have to decide between paying for insulin or their bread. And I stand for greener laws, which will help to preserve what remains of our nurturing environment. First, let me explain why I stand for total loan forgiveness. I stand for total loan forgiveness because in this time of COVID-19, along with widespread economic instability, it is essential that we support students who have taken it upon themselves to not only invest in their own education, but who have also invested into our economy's future. As listed on studentaid.gov, put out by an office of the U.S. Department of Education, some consequences of defaulting on student loans are damages to your credit rating, which affects your ability to buy a car or house or to get a credit card. This is why student loans should be forgiven at such an unprecedented time in history. Our citizens who chose to invest in our country's future could be those most at risk of being held down by the oppressive weight of defaulting on their student loans. Here is where you would make 4 more I stand for statements, giving similarly supported I stand arguments. So you need to have evidence, you need to have direct quotations from your sources, and then give the why as to how that evidence supports your statement about what you stand for. So, great people of Park High, I stand before you tonight to tell you what I really stand for. I stand for student loan forgiveness because those brave citizens who have invested into our country's future shouldn't be those who are most burdened during our current economic difficulties. I stand for practical police reform so that all of our citizens can enjoy the same protections which these forces could be providing. I stand for funding our education system because our children truly do matter. I stand for universal health care because you should not need to decide between insulin and bread. And I stand for greener laws because we only have one planet, so let's make it last.